We all know that Washington State is a uniquely beautiful place in the world. Our forests have sustained millions of forms of wildlife for thousands of years. Our farms and fishable rivers and streams have provided a natural resource economy for generations of families and businesses. Our cities succeed in blending parks, beaches, and trails with increasingly urban landscapes, promoting healthy lifestyles and healthy families. And our wilderness areas provide us with opportunities to enjoy the bounty of Washington's forests, rivers, and lands and engage with nature. Over the past 20 years, the rest of the world has caught on to what our great outdoors Washington offers, and as a result, our state's population has increased exponentially. Washington's population has grown by 25% since 1990, and another 2 million people will be living here in 25 years. As this happens, there will be more cars on the road, more pollution in the air we breathe, and a higher demand to develop some of the most valuable wildlife habitat and natural areas in our communities. How do we protect that which we cherish most about our quality of life here as the pressure of population continues to rise? This is the challenge we must all face together. Despite our shifting demographics, one thing remains certain. Our cities, communities, neighbors, friends, you and I know that we cannot afford to lose our favorite places for outdoor recreation. Fortunately, we've had a voice for the past 17 years in Olympia that works in the public interest to speak for us and for the special places we need to protect. Since 1990, the Washington Wildlife and Recreation Coalition has successfully advocated in the legislature for funding to protect our parks, wildlife, and working farms. From the shorelines of Puget Sound to farmlands in Okanogan County to trails in Spokane, the coalition has actively supported funding for projects in nearly every county in Washington State. The Washington Wildlife and Recreation Coalition was founded in 1989 by former governors Dan Evans and Mike Lowry. These two leaders saw that the state population was increasing, that federal funding for parks and wildlife had declined dramatically, and state funding for new habitat and outdoor recreation was less than $2 million a year. They knew there had to be a program that worked community by community to balance growth with protecting our natural landscape. Evans and Lowry formed the coalition, and over 130 conservation, sporting, and hunting groups, businesses, organized labor, and activists joined them. Like the founders, the coalition members saw no partisan boundaries when it came to preserving more land for outdoor recreation and wildlife habitat. This common interest has led to a diverse membership whose grassroots base reaches every corner of the state. Together, coalition members persuaded the state legislature to create the Washington Wildlife and Recreation Program, a grant program that provides state funding to protect parks, wildlife habitat, and working farms. The governor and the legislature set the funding levels of the grant program and approve the projects that come in from state, local, and tribal agencies every 2 years. The Recreation and Conservation Office ranks proposed projects based on the threat of development, the quality of the project, public support, and the needs of the community. The Washington Wildlife and Recreation Program has funded over 910 projects on 230,000 acres of habitat with $544 million in state funds. Private, local, and federal matching dollars bring the total to over $1 billion. The Washington Wildlife and Recreation Coalition is the vision, the drive, and yes, the brawn that lobbies the legislature to secure the money. The coalition is the only organization in the state dedicated to advocating for state funding for the permanent protection of our natural habitat and outdoor recreation spaces. And you can see the results of this everywhere in the state. Perhaps most importantly to all of us, the coalition ensures that the state funds go to projects that we want and need. Public support and the needs of the community are top criteria for every project grant application. This guarantees that the work of the coalition improves our community's quality of life and the environment. With 15 years of success and a compelling vision, the coalition was able to convince the legislature and the governor to double the amount of money going toward the Washington Wildlife and Recreation Grant Program during the 2007 legislative session. This year's $100 million appropriation was an incredible victory that will have a lasting impact on all of us, our children and our children's children. With your support, the work of the Washington Wildlife and Recreation Coalition will continue to create and enhance our hiking and biking trails, state parks, ball fields, beaches, hunting areas, farms, salmon streams, and many other projects that improve communities, restore wilderness, and keep us and our state healthy, clean, and beautiful.